Can a high pressure fuel pump upgrade make your car lag?
Nope.
No, absolutely not.
No. No. We with the upgrade, it's for one, it's not a huge upgrade. I mean, mechanically, you can even run them on stock calibration. You won't have any other benefit from it,
Yeah.
but they'll function just fine. And secondly, if you're running the calibration for it, there's zero difference in any of the engine load or air fuel delivery or anything like that, just because of the increased piston size. It's all calibrated correctly. It's all in there and mapped as needed. So there'll be absolutely zero operating change in how air and fuel and power delivery is handled. You'll just have more fuel available for even more power later on. So there is it's one of the weird side effects or a difficult thing to explain with turbo motors in particular. The more boost you make, and particularly in the mid-range, the more lag you have because you have a higher boost target you're eventually getting to. Your perception of lag is higher. So you're still making the same power, usually more, as you did stock or whatever, but it just keeps going and making even more power further on. So you can have a longer delay from accelerator to your maximum acceleration, but that delay is still greater than what you had stock. So it's a tricky thing to explain, and
that's a really good point. That's probably where this came from. I was just wondering, like, how could anyone think that? But Nate's right. Like any kind of turbo lag is completely a perception thing, right? So let's just say you have one car that's a V8 that makes 400 horsepower, at 4,000 RPM. And then let's say you're driving a turbo motor with a smaller turbo motor, and it makes it spools up and makes 300 horsepower at 3,000 RPM, but makes 800 horsepower at 5,000 RPM. Essentially, the turbo motor is going to feel incredibly laggy, even though it's pretty much faster than the V8 before and after. But the perception of lag, because the difference between 300 horsepower and 800 horsepower is so big that once you get to the 800 horsepower, your brain's like, wow, that 300 horsepower was so slow. Even though you might think that the 400 horsepower NA motor is super quick all across the power band. So this is just a perception thing. I was trying to think of an analogy.
It's a tricky one to kind of like, without experiencing it firsthand and kind of like, doing real quick changes back to back to feel that change. It's tough to get your head around.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, I see this with pay. If someone's making $20 an hour and then you give them $30 an hour, they're going to be super happy. But then if you're like, hey, listen, we decided $30 an hour, this isn't a thing, but let's just entertain me. Listen, turns out we can't afford to pay you $30 an hour, but good news, we can pay you $25 an hour, which is $5 more than you were making before. The person making now $25 will be less happy than the person who was making $20 previously, right? So again, it's a perception thing. You go from one thing to another and then back down. There's disappointment, even though you're higher up than you were before. So if you happen to install a high pressure fuel pump and say do a higher level tune that makes more power, then all of a sudden your car feels laggier because that higher point is so much higher than you were before. So that's probably what that is. But no, there's no lag. Not in actuality, but your perception of lag may increase for sure.
Because if you flash the 2+ file or the 1+ file, you've got more boost in the mid-range, so it can take a tiny bit longer to get to that extra boost from where you had it before.
Turbo lag and human satisfaction, you could say, are very similar. They're very conditional. It's not based on reality, it's based on your perception. How satisfied someone is, because you could have someone be less satisfied with a $300 Michelin star meal than someone in Africa getting a bowl of rice. So it's just completely relative.